What is up, guys? So today I want to talk about why every single Enfield guide uses Rodagan as their showcase, or they use footage from the Rodagan stage as gameplay instead of anything else. It's like the entire game is just Rodagan stage. Like literally go to any Enfield guide, it's just going to be Rodagan, even from all the top tier creators. And I get it. Rodagan is a pretty good damage sponge. He only has like 2 phases. He doesn't have any like invincible phases that like cooks your team. His attacks don't really interrupt you that much. Doesn't have any gimmicks or mechanics to screw you over. And they have a long life so that you can showcase multiple rotations and your full damage. And it looks like they won't be designing another boss like him anymore, since he is like the first boss of this game. But other than Rodagan, we do have like harder content and like a more proper end game, even if we don't really want to call it an end game. And that is, over to you, Umbral Monument. Now, lately, it feels like I'm the only one that actually plays this game mode. I feel like every time I play a new team or a new character, I always test it out with the Umbral Monument. But I don't really see other people's doing the same. And I think I kind of understand why now. And there are multiple reasons. But let's go over one by one. So, Umbral Monument has 3 stages. And they were released in this order. So this one first, and this one, the middle one, and then the latest one was Searing Scars. And then in the middle of May, they will drop another one. So it's just constantly adding 3 more stages. And with Umbral Monument Basics, I don't have to explain it. They first have a non-agony mode, which is like normal mode, which is like level 60. This is barely anything. This is just for you to get your goddamn ore barrels crystals. And then they have an agony mode, which is like almost like a real end game. In this mode, just like other end game, you don't get to use your consumables, your tacticals, your healing items. And then the difficulty is increased. It went up to like level 90, which is kind of like the max level in this game. And you look at the mechanics, they do change a bit. They added a few more lines. So let's go over why no one actually play these as showcase in their guides. So first one, Survive the Gas. Now I'm not going to play the entire thing because that's going to like be very distracting. But I'll explain the reason why nobody plays these. This one is actually really easy. The main thing you need is that you want a healer, because in this stage specifically, healing yourself equals healing your entire team. And the stage mechanic is basically that your life is just dropping constantly down. You're losing life constantly because of the gas. That's why you're here, to survive the gas in this gas chamber. And the mobs are all pretty easy. It's just that some of the samurai mobs that kind of like dodges around. A lot of like small mobs in this stage, and then at the end it'll have one of the bone crusher, big guy or whatever. So the main way to clear this stage is you first need to have a healer, and the second thing is that you want to be able to clear fast. Because if you can't clear fast enough, if you're like taking your time, no matter how good your healing is, you're going to get cooked by the gas. So that's like 2 requirements for this stage. And in a lot of like Enfield meta teams, people don't really use the best sustain. People don't really level their healing or like their shielding. I mean, in this case, shielding doesn't really work. It's more of a healing thing. Enfield characters, especially the sustain characters, don't heal that much. It's more of like Wuthering Waves or like Zenless Zone Zero style, not like Genshin or Honkai Star Rail style of like healing. You're more expected to like clear as fast as possible, not a long, worn out attrition battle. And as you can guess, meta-wise, there's not a lot of teams that are very suited for this stage, even though it's very easy. If you have enough damage, you can brute force it. Like I could beat this with Yvonne. But for my Zhongfangyi, it's a bit difficult since usually I don't run sustain with Zhongfangyi. I usually just have Amber, since she has like some auto healing. But sometimes Amber just doesn't heal enough, and then you just get cooked by the gas. That might be skill issue on my hand, but I think that's just a stage gimmick problem, not skill issue. Stage gimmick issue. So I rarely play this stage, honestly. I also previously experimented with like the free-to-play physical admin team, and my free-to-play physical admin also has some healing problems with this, and they don't clear fast enough, and that's why I rarely play this stage. Next is Unorthodox Tactics. This stage is also very gimmicky. So basically, I'm assuming y'all already played this, but in this stage, if you don't remember, they have like 4 enemies that are like ranged arm units, and then they all stay in one spot and they don't move at all. They are like harder to interrupt, and they continuously gain attack, so they do quite a lot of damage. They're usually like using their guns. They're just standing still in a circle. Now, surprisingly, the latest Team Zhongfangyi is really good for this stage because they're all just grouped together already. This stage is basically an AoE check, honestly. The only characters that are bad this stage are like the single target ones like Yvonne. But you know, Yvonne is pretty good too if you have Tong Tong. It's just that Yvonne's ult is only single target, which is really bad for this stage. And the big problem with this stage is that all the enemies, they might like shoot in like different timings, so you're just constantly dodging forever, which is a pain if you're playing like physical Enmin or other like less fortunate teams or less meta teams. It's only really good for like AoE characters, especially good for like Zhongfangyi. Next is, I would say, one of the least gimmicky stage of Umbral Monument, one of the better stage. This one, you know, 2 elite enemies. You've seen this stage a billion times. I've seen this stage more than I've seen some of my family. First, they drop the axe guy, and then the other crossbow guy shoots in the back. And then after the axe guy gets killed or gets beat up, the crossbow guy comes in and shoots you. And then at the end, both of them will come together to fight you. This one, I think it's a really good damage showcase since they're like two single targets, and if they're grouped up, you can really cook them with AoE stuff. I think the main problem with this stage is that their range attacks, especially when they're in the back lines, it's really large and hard to dodge. It's hard to like do your best rotation because their attacks, like from the crossbow guy shoots like 2 like arrows from the sky, and then he covers like 2 arrows that tracks you, so you just have to dodge it. And then they just keep shooting you. And then sometimes the axe guy will like grab. That's easy to dodge. They have a lot of things that you need to interrupt. You have to interrupt like 2 of the boss at the end, so you can't like spam all of your rotations immediately, usually. And these 2 also do quite a lot of damage, so not very forgiving, especially if you're playing sustainless. And the most annoying part is towards the end when both of these enemies come at you together. When you're fighting like the axe guy, the crossbow guy will shoot you a lot. So it's really hard to damage the axe guy, which slows down your rotation by a lot, and you can't really do much about it. You just have to keep dodging forever. So this stage is a dodge fest. So up next is the second Umbral Monument. Now I think this one is a step above, mostly. The first one is Bolts and Shadow. This one is the one with the scorpion. This one is very simple and easy. Damage check. The only problem is that he has like an invincible phase. Once you get him down to like half health or like 3/4 health, he'll have a shield around him, and then it's very cheap, I would have to say. And then you have to fight off the little scorpions that he summons, and then only then you can go and attack him. But honestly, if you're fast enough and your team is well invested, do enough damage, you can probably just one shot finish the boss without giving him a chance to become invincible. I almost did it one time and I could never recreate it ever again. I think I was playing like Yvonne and I could like time his stagger and his like enemy's rotation and got him to very low health before he can like go invincible. But you know, as this game is like almost cheating, you know, when he's like low health, he just immediately forgets about everything and just put up his stupid ass shield. Now, invincibility aside, it's still very annoying because they also have like other range mobs, small range mob, and then they have like a tornado. They have the tornado from Sumeru over here for some reason that all like cooks you. And the big boss is invincible, but he can still shoot you a lot. So when he spawns the little scorpions, you just have to keep dodging, and then you can't really do your damage, or else you take a lot of damage. I have gotten a bit better at playing this stage, but you know, at first it was really like difficult and annoying to really showcase the characters. So you don't really see much people playing this one. The second one, Rampaging Shields. This one is even more gimmicky. This one is, it gives you these 2 ram. So what they do like 2 attacks, honestly. They like charge at you, and then the charge is like very long. They go like 3 straight lines. And then the only way to stop it is really just using Amp, Snowshine, and maybe probably Catcher. Nobody leveled up Catcher at all. This stage is basically just use Snowshine. It's probably better than any like meta team. Now this stage is pretty easy in terms of just doing your damage. They don't have any like invincible rotation. The only problem is that they have a lot of armor and they just move around a lot. So if your characters are dependent on like your enemies staying a bit still, this stage is very annoying. And then towards the half, they will spawn another one. So there's 2 rams, and then they each might have like different timings, and they might just gang up on you, and then you would have no chance. Depending on the RNG, you might have no chance to actually fully unleash your full damage potential onto them. Which means for this stage, you usually want to use Snowshine. But you know, Snowshine is more of a sustained gimmick character most meta teams don't use Snowshine. Snowshine doesn't add much to the damage. All she really does is give you an extra cryo infliction at 50 SP. So meta teams and this stage don't really go well together. That's why you don't see this stage at all in any Enfield guides. Now this third stage is actually really good. You can see from the theme, right? Every third stage is usually like a single target massive boss. Now this stage is really good for damage showcase, but it does have some caveat. This one, it's from the boss. It's the, I forgot how to pronounce this, Walking Chrysopolis, I think. It's a rock monster. It's very easy to do your damage rotation. The gimmick is that it will like jump up and down, and then eventually it will like reveal their weakness with the red crust and all that. And then you're supposed to attack it as fast as possible. If you miss or don't finish it in time, he will just swipe you off, and then you have to restart and reset everything. So this one, you actually see people like try to showcase their endgame builds with this one. I would say the only problem is that this rock monster AI can be very unpredictable. They do very different things every time, so your rotations, your run is also going to be very different. Sometimes it'll do like the mini game where you have to like dodge, and then that takes up quite a lot of time. Sometimes it jumps up and down only one time. Sometimes it jumps up and down multiple times. And then when it jumps up and down, all of your abilities, your skills, ultimate, all misses. And then sometimes they don't show their weakness for a long time. And then by the time they show their weakness, or they show it too early, you don't have all your ultimates and skills charged up yet. So the rotations is cooked, and then you have to restart it all over again. So, you know, this is one of the better stages for damage showcase, but it still has its problems, which, you know, I will blame it up to more because it has more RNG elements to it. I mean, every stage has AI RNG element, but you know, this one is more annoying. And up next is the latest Umbral monument, Searing Scars. This one actually takes place in Wuling. Now, this new Umbral monument has very positive reception, but it's also a bit harder than the previous two ones. It's probably because people are now having more stronger characters, so they're just adjusting to the power level. And all three of these are pretty hard in their own way. Starting with Sea of Loathing, this one is also very gimmicky. It has these two, right? One is like, they look kind of the same, but one of them can like move around. Three of them are like stationary. They're harder to interrupt, so you can't crowd control. Only one is hardest to interrupt, actually. It says the one that like flies around. So if you don't know this stage, this guy will like chain your character down. They'll do it immediately in their first rotation. So you already know they're going to chain your character down, and then you unchain your character by hitting his lightning pulse or whatever. They don't explain it to you. You just have to figure it out yourself. But you can also use Snowshine and Amber or Catcher to like block out his execution attack. But the problem is that it takes up a lot of time and focus away from your rotation. So it doesn't feel very good. And then there's three of these people, or not people, cranes. They will like summon a fog that makes you go super slow. So when they combine the fog and the chain together, you move super slow and you can't get rid of the chain. Your teammate just get executed normally if you're like really unlucky and not fast enough. So that makes this stage very gimmicky. This stage is specifically very good for Zhongfangyi because Zhongfangyi in her ult form can like ignore the fog, and she just dash because she doesn't walk or move normally in her ultimate form. She has a blink dash, and that ignores the fog. So we already have a stage that just shields for Zhongfangyi. Now, of course, there's some timing to it. You want to have your Zhongfangyi in ult form when they have the fog and the chain mode. But still, they on average do chain your teammates like 2 or 3 times per stage. They'll do it like every like 3 rotations. For some teams, it's better to focus fire on the leader, the one that does the chaining, that moves around. For some team, it might be better to clear the 3 stationary ones in the AoE. But overall, I would say it's pretty okay. It's just pretty RNG. Sometimes you can get very unlucky with the fog and the chaining, and then they chain you while you're fogged, and then you have no stamina, which results in your teammates getting cooked. So that's why you don't really see me or anyone really use this stage for showcase. Now the second one is more gimmicky than I thought, more gimmicky than expected. So this one, yes, you know, it's the Tomb Flamethrower one. Now normally these are very easy, but you know, this game has to make your life hell for no reason. For some reason, they turn off, as you can see here, operators cannot perform perfect dodge. I don't know what is the canonical reason for this. Did admin like forgot how to dodge? Did they get amnesia or something? Did they like voluntarily not do it just to challenge themselves? It has like 2 gimmicks, right? Another gimmick is that it has like the Originium slugs they didn't put it here actually. They have like the slugs, and you can't attack those slugs, but those slugs will like just explode themselves, kind of like a landmine, and then you have to dodge those. And then once you beat the first flamethrower to half health, the other flamethrower will show up, kind of like the heavy ram just now. And then 2 flamethrowers, because you can't perfect dodge, you can only like run away from the fire, and you have to run away from like 2 fire actually. Actually, it might be 4. I think one of these to carry like 2 sets of fire. So you need to run away from 2 streams of fire while also dodging all the explosions and stuff. So this stage, literally, I see no one use it as a guide showcase. The main way to deal with this is to crowd control the flamethrower. That's the whole gimmick. I think it's because they stay in crowd control form a lot longer. So the best team for this stage is probably Yvonne with her cryo, or any like cryo team honestly, but I think Yvonne works best with her freeze and solidification. Physical Endmin can work too, but a bit difficult. You just need to time your Chen Yu knockdown. But the biggest problem is that Endmin and physical team are mostly melee, which makes it really hard to dodge, and you really have to commit, and you probably will take a lot more damage compared to using ranged unit like Yvonne and Tang Tang. And interestingly enough, this stage is really bad for Zhuang Fangyi. Zhuang Fangyi does a lot of like damage, but she has no crowd control at all, and her team doesn't have any crowd control. The only like good part is that Zhuang Fangyi ult can ignore a lot of the mechanics and knockback. She just has like interruption resistance, but she still does take a lot of damage from the flame. And usually Zhuang Fangyi team doesn't have that much sustain, which makes it really hard to survive. I think I remember not showing this stage at all in her Zhuang Fangyi showcase video. So I would say this is the worst stage in Umbral Monument so far, unless you're playing Yvonne. Now on to the last Umbral Monument stage, or I would say most people agree that this is the hardest stage so far. It's just one boss. These bosses are typically very easy in the overworld, but you know, in this stage he got like steroids or something. This stage is also very gimmicky. Like how gimmicky you would say? On a scale of 10, this is a new number. The gimmick number. There is no number to describe how gimmick this is. So in this stage, the first thing is that during the boss has like an enraged stage where he becomes all red. And then during this stage, your operators cannot generate SP naturally. They don't have the natural SP generation. You can only generate SP by landing your final strike combo sequence. I don't know what is the logic behind this. Maybe you can explain it to us. But I guess I don't know how does the boss being enraged makes your character not be able to skill more. But you know, this is a game, a challenge. And the boss will like give himself heat infliction. Once they have 4 heat infliction, he will go into his ult, which is he will jump up and down, and then you can't hit him at all. And then every time he lands, if he lands on you, he does a lot of damage, obviously. But even if he doesn't land on you, you will forcefully take combustion damage anyway. Almost your entire team takes it, which makes your health bar looks like brown and red, like your life is just burning. It's damage over time. So there's like forceful heat combustion onto your entire team. You'll probably run out of stamina to dodge it anyway, since he jumps up and down a lot and you have to keep dodging. Thankfully, there's perfect dodge in this game mode, but it really does not help that much, since even if you can dodge everything, your teammates are probably going to get smoked by his combustion. And the way to play this stage is almost similar to most teams. You can't do your optimal damage rotations on this boss at all. You have to play in a completely differently. Your team needs to have someone that can like clear heat infliction, and you also want your team to not inflict more heat infliction as well. So Levitain team might need to be changed a bit. And the whole gimmick is to stop him from getting up to 4 heat inflictions. So when he gets to like 4 or 3, you need to immediately like activate Prelica battle skill or use Tong Tong battle skill. Apply your other elements infliction to get rid of his heat infliction to stop him from going from his ult. At the same time, you want your characters to be basic attacking the boss a lot to generate as much SP as you can. I mainly use free-to-play physical Endmin for this stage, but you know, Yvonne can work too. Zhuang Fangyi is a bit weird since it's hard to time her massive ultimate rotation with the boss, because the boss do have some downtime, but the downtime is very small. Like I would say 70% of the fight with the boss is him in his heat infliction mode, and you just have to play extremely patiently. So this stage, it caused everyone a lot of agony, unironically. But it's still a fun stage. I think it's pretty good. I think this stage would be pretty good for like any future characters who specializes in just doing basic attack a lot, that doesn't rely too much on like skill and ultimate. So in terms of gimmicks, this is one of the worst stage for Enfield Showcase. So after talking about all 9 of these, I'll say the best one, probably Rock Solid, Bolts and Shadows, Ballista and Axe, Unorthodox Tactics for some team, because you know some team are more single target and can't really do it. So the good ones are these two, all 3 of these are very gimmicky, so all 3 of these are not too good. They are fun and challenging in their own way. It's just they don't really work well with like to showcase characters. So what is the point of talking about all this? Umbral Monument is goofy, but you know, maybe in the next Umbral Monument that's coming soon in the middle of the patch, which is in like May or something. Hopefully the next Umbral Monument can be less goofy in mechanics and maybe replace Rodagon, so everyone can like stop killing Rodagon for once. I know some people are also doing like speed runs on like other boss like Neferith. Neferith seems to be like a popular speed run showcase boss recently because he's the most recent boss. But she has some annoying parts as well. Like you need to like jump and then press R. They have the special Zhuangfang Yi mechanic in there. Neferith, she runs around a lot. You have to run to her, and then she also has time stopping abilities just to cook you. And other boss also have like some invincibility phases, or they just or many of these just have like invisible phases or like runs around forever. Rodney just jumps around forever. Only Rodagon is like really simple and straightforward. So my suggestion to the next Umbral Monument, just make a stage with like 2 Rodagon or something. Like just back-to-back Rodagon. Or maybe have another stage that's maybe have a stage that's like 10 Rodagons. Maybe that would save the end game. But let me know what y'all think, and I'll see y'all next time.